2 days ago, I celebrated 90 days of continuous sobriety, and in this video we're going to quickly talk about why I got sober, but mostly focus this video on what it's been like since I made that very, very important decision. Glad you're here. What's going on, guys? My name is Noah, and in this video we're going to talk about my experience getting sober over the last 90 days. Something I've known for a very, very long time is that alcohol was doing something for me far beyond just being social. It was doing something for me more than just having some fun. I know I was treating things, I was relieving things, I was using it as a coping mechanism, as a tool, and to have fun. Alcohol was a really, really good agent to make me feel okay. And 90 days ago I came to a fever pitch with the simple fact that I wasn't feeling okay with alcohol or without alcohol. I was having tremendous physical issues, mental health issues, relationship issues, financial issues. I was at a turning point. I was at a breaking point. I drank for the effect. It started becoming a priority. Other things started to flounder, and I chased that buzz, that relief, that feeling to the bitter end. And I'm very, very grateful that nothing terrible happened. But if I could highlight real what it looked like on my last week of drinking, it was probably 4 or 5 nights of 12 to 14 beers. It was driving drunk a couple times. It was horrible stomach ulcers. It was anxiety and near panic. It was disconnection from my wife. It was suicidal thoughts. And it was lonely. And it was getting worse. In this video, I want to focus on what's happened in the last 90 days. And the biggest thing that's changed for me is my day-to-day habits. I went from kind of building my life around drinking, either the pursuit of getting drunk, being drunk, or recovering from being drunk. I obsessed over that. And I really did negotiate and manage my relationships, my obligations, everything, my interests around drinking. And so, as it has been explained to me by people that know better, in getting sober, I knew I was going to need to now build my life around recovery and sobriety. I have long since given up the idea that not drinking was going to be enough for me. I'm very much an alcoholic, and in that mindset and in that principle or understanding of alcoholism, alcohol is a symptom. Alcohol is not the problem. It was my solution, absolutely. It just stopped working. If alcohol still worked, I'd still be using it. It just didn't work anymore, and that's a horrifying place to be. So, in desperation and fear, with my stomach ulcers, my depression, my life falling into ruins, I decided I was going to build my life around recovery, and that's what I've done for the last 90 days. I was able to hit 90 12-step meetings in 90 days. I've been working with a sponsor every week. And the sponsor, if you don't know, is someone in 12-step programs who has gone before you and who can lead you through that program with a bit of clarity. I absolutely am aware that the way I think about things and the way I process things right now are ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. I can't trust myself, and there's almost like a relief and freedom in that fact. I don't know what I'm going to think, but I can absolutely have an impact on what I'm going to do. And so, in that, I've come to a place of such vulnerability and fear for my long-term life, my short-term health, so many things. It's led to a lot of willingness, and that willingness has been great. So if I could surmise 90 days, it would be tremendous willingness and very, very good follow-through with the actions that have been suggested to me. I've naturally progressed to a very healthy diet. I've always had that in me to be healthy. My biggest derailment from that was always drinking, because it just was more important to me. But when I wasn't drinking, I longed to be this very healthy person who ate whole foods and exercised and slept well. But alcohol was too powerful, it took too much of my energy, and so I struggled there. So one thing that's been cool about getting sober is that now my actions fall in line with a lot of my hopes, feelings, dreams, intuitions that I've been gravitating towards for years, and that's been really cool. So I eat really healthy, and I surrender to that very naturally. And I exercise, and I've lost a lot of weight. So that's been really cool about these first 90 days, is that I'm able to live more in accordance with the true, real me, whom I'm just starting to get to know. The 90 days, like I said, are structure-based and habit-based, and I don't want to sugarcoat sobriety as being like this incredibly joyous, wonderful journey. It's been perfect. It's been perfect because I'm sober and I'm doing what I'm told, and I'm so proud of my actions, and I'm so incredibly happy with how those actions are impacting my life. But what's been hard, and I knew would be hard, is my mental health. I've got a history of depression and anxiety. I've known that about myself for a long, long time. And something that's happened in the past when I got sober is that while my life does get better, absolutely. I mean, I'm 18, 20 pounds leaner. I'm sleeping better. I'm so much more responsible and productive. I'm actively pursuing self-growth and help. I'm being far more of service to others. I'm more in tune with my wife. I'm being more professional in my business. I'm doing so many things so well. But something that I've always known is that when I get sober, one of the things that scares me and has led me back to drinking, aside from a lack of action, is that my depression gets worse and my anxiety gets worse and my deep obsessive rumination comes back and I can't quiet it quickly. And so alcohol is a great Band-Aid for that. I mean, it really was. But I was at an incredible premium. The return on investment was low. But I got a little quiet in my brain, and I've always been afraid of what happens when you get rid of alcohol inside my brain, because I get more rumination, I obsess more, I freak myself out more, and I think things that have me question my identity and they have me question the world around me. This always happens. And so I was talking to my sponsor a while back, and we were discussing what happened last time I relapsed, and the primary thing that happened was that I couldn't get a hold of my mental health. I made this comment to him stating that if I was going to struggle with depression and anxiety and rumination, I may as well drink, because I had this like expectation of sobriety. But here's what I'm learning, and here's what I've really come to accept, and I hope to accept it daily. Getting sober is not going to fix my brain all by itself. It's going to be a huge, huge window of opportunity, though, to do the work necessary, put in the time, the commitment, and the effort to heal my brain. So something I did last time I tried to get sober was I did some of what was suggested to me to the best of my ability, but then I also just relied on my own best thoughts on how this was going to go. And I waited. I did a lot of waiting. And so something I haven't done these 90 days is wait for anything. I am working. I am working for this. I am reading. I am learning. I'm taking suggestion. I'm following through. And I am hurting. My brain is hurting. I'm still experiencing mood swings. In fact, I would say that they've been getting a bit worse. But I have faith that it's going to be okay, because I'm so lost in action, and I trust the people that have gone before me. I trust, because when I get locked back in my own head, I worry and I obsess and I'm afraid. I'm filled with fear. But when I trust and when I have faith and when I actively work on that, it gets better. So I'm right where I need to be. I really am. Things are going really well for me. And for my mental health, they're going to improve when they improve. And I'm grateful that I can still be functional. I'm grateful that I do get moments of reprieve, because I've had a clinical breakdown. I've had a full nervous breakdown before. Treatment-resistant depression. I know very intense black tar depression, depersonalization, and panic. And this isn't that. Knock on wood. For right now, this isn't that. This is low-grade to moderate depression with some peaks and valleys. Still uncomfortable, but this is what I have to go through. And I'm really glad that I've stayed in that mindset that if I don't deal with this now, if I don't surrender to this fact that I am an alcoholic, I drink destructively. Once I start drinking, I don't know what's going to happen or when I'm going to stop. If I surrender that completely, every single day, I have like this grand opportunity to do the work and to have a life I could only imagine. And I hold on to things like that. They say in these recovery programs, they say that I will come to know a life like I couldn't imagine. Fear and self-loathing will leave me. I'll gain interest in my fellows. I just want all these things that are being promised to those who will be honest and work for them. And I just don't want to go back to what I was, because quite frankly, I think I'm one of those people that could eventually take his own life. I know that's dark, and I'm so sorry if you're in that space. But feeling these suicidal thoughts flare up in early sobriety reminds me that this is dangerous. Not taking my alcoholism extremely serious is dangerous. And I have to be willing to go to any lengths to secure my mental health and my physical health and my spiritual health. And I can't just run from this anymore. This is part of who I am. I'm an alcoholic, and I want to be one who surrenders to that respectfully and does what he has to do. So I don't feel like a victim. I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm really glad I'm where I'm at. And I'm going to have faith 100,000 times a day, because I'll get it and lose it, get it and lose it, until things get better and better. And then I really am focusing on gratitude and affirmations and not taking my thoughts personal. Because as my sponsor says, I'm in early sobriety and I'm insane. And one thing I really like is that when you go to these 12-step meetings, you get to sit around a lot of people who you will eventually identify with, especially if you're looking for similarities and not differences. And because I'm so I just came into this so broken, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, I'm listening really hard for similarities, and I'm finding them. I really take a lot of comfort in knowing a lot of guys and girls come into the end of their addiction feeling suicidal. I appreciate the fact that they didn't know what else to do, or that they were hopeless. Like, these things help me because I identify, and I see so many people that had such absurd stories recover and live productive, healthy lives and stable lives, and it gives me hope. And so I believe I'm going to have that as well. And I'm so happy I have 90 days sober. I'm so proud of myself. I really, really am. It's been good to get to know me again. When you're drinking, like I drank, there are blinders that you have on to so many things. Your lack of awareness is so absurd. And I'm only 90 days sober, so I'm a baby. But even at 90 days, I can look back and I can see just how insane I was living, how completely detached I was living, and how many things I need to work on to be the best, strongest version of myself. Because my default is to not feel good enough. My default is to compare. My default is to despair. That darkness is there, and it needs to be addressed. And I just couldn't address it as someone who was drowning in alcohol. But I tell myself this every day. I'm going to have a complete psychic change, and I already am in a lot of ways. Everything's going to be okay so long as I'm working a recovery program, I'm doing what I'm told, and I'm staying sober. Knowing that and believing that is huge. It kind of makes everything else doable, and it makes me able to cope. Being in that space where I had no idea what I was going to do next was horrifying, because I didn't know what was ever going to happen. I don't apologize anymore. I'm trying very hard not to apologize for this being a more serious video, but I think the importance of me being like, yeah, I'm for sure battling depression and some anxiety and tons of rumination right now. I think the importance of being transparent in that respect and letting you see it for what it is, and telling you I'm insecure and telling you that I'm scared but hopeful and very focused. I think the reason I do that is so that when I'm in a better space mentally, it'll be so real and authentic and tangible for people and for me. Usually you can see it in my eyes, like, I'm alright, I'm here, but there's, living inside your brain all the time is different. I think I'll end the video with that being like one of the strangest epiphanies for me in early sobriety. Is that when you're drinking all the time, right, like I was, you're just constantly drinking, and or you're hungover, and or you're kind of plotting when you drink, or it's just kind of on your brain all the time. You really don't have to be with yourself that much. And one of the hardest adjustments in early sobriety for me is the fact that I am now with me all the time. And so you're learning all these coping tools and strategies, and you're managing depressive flare-ups and hopeless feelings and crazy thoughts. I mean, truly insane thoughts that I don't believe reflect how I'll be thinking and moving and behaving or behaving, never mind, but thinking in the future. It can be very overwhelming to just be in your thoughts all day long. And so what was like passive time with you and then tons of time with your drinking you is now tons of time with you, and that takes practice. That takes absolute practice. And I'm practicing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I now pray. I've got these little things on my wrist that have little writings on them to just bring me back, because I want to wander into fear and hopelessness so quickly right now, because I believe my brain is readjusting. I believe my brain was getting so much signal from alcohol to pump out those neurotransmitters to make me feel good that it's just taking a breather. My brain is taking a breather. So fake it till you make it to an extent. Always stay safe though. If I start feeling really suicidal, believe you me, I will be letting people know, and I'll check myself into the hospital. But God willing, I don't think we're going to get there. And then I'm going to act my way into better thinking. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and I'm rambling, which is right. That's how this goes too. So this is therapy for me, right? I appreciate you guys. I'm glad I have you. And I'm glad I can still be honest with you. And I'm glad that there's still value in that, because in this depressive state, I question my value like a lot of people, and I think a lot of warped thoughts. But deep down, I know like good, solid inner truth, and I'm just having faith. If you're in early sobriety, whether that's 1 day, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, please share your experience, strength, and hope. Share your struggles. Share your successes. We are definitely in this together, and we need each other. And listen, one of the things that comes over a lot of us, myself included, is this idea that like we're the only ones going through this. Let me tell you, from an anecdotal perspective, based on how many people reach out to me on here and how many people I'm in contact with in my life from various walks of life, this disease, alcoholism, addiction, it grabs everybody. I don't care where you come from, what you do, what you know, it gets everybody. So you're not alone. You're not crazy. But you are dealing with something very serious. You know, we're dealing with something very serious, and I'm so thankful that I'm honoring the severity of the situation, and I'm chasing a life like I could only imagine, and that's so thrilling. It makes up for everything. There's so much possibility ahead, and I know this is where I need to be. If you need to be here, go get help. It is some hard work sometimes, but it's worth it. And I just have faith and just say something. Because if you are stuck in some sort of cognitive dissonance where you're thinking one way but behaving another, and looping and looping and looping and looping and looping, there's a way out. There really, really is. And it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be worth it. I promise. I believe that with all my heart. So I thank you for sharing your experience in advance. I thank you for letting me chat for so damn long. It just feels good to let this off my chest. And I do right now have more of an instinct to hide from you guys, because I'm down and I'm obsessing extra, and I'm a bit uncomfortable. But I'm glad that I just share anyway. And so please share with me is what I'm trying to say. Okay, we'll see you guys in the next video. I thank you for your time. My name is Noah, and I'm an extraordinarily grateful, sober man working in a recovery program who has 90 days of sobriety. I took 2 years just to try to get a couple days. So it's a big, big deal for someone like me to be sober and doing things different. It's a big deal. So if you're like a couple days sober and feeling bad about yourself, hey, that's a big deal if you got a couple days. I know how hard it is. A lot of us don't ever make it out. And yeah, it's a trip. Addiction's a trip. The brain's a trip. Life's a trip. Life's a trip. Don't believe everything you think. Don't forget, if you're in early recovery, you're absolutely insane. Embrace that. It'll make it funnier when we all get more sane in the future. Adios, guys.